Hi there, I'm Linda and this is Huttons Valley Permaculture. Each year since I've been here, I've come up with a list of things that I'd like to achieve during that year. Today I'm going to share with you those plans in a hope that it makes me more accountable and more likely to achieve them. So first up, there's this garden. I've still got a couple more beds that I'd like to build. So just at the northern end of my garden, I've got this section here that currently is being taken over by pumpkins. But during this year, I would like to get another garden bed here, another here, and then the path right through the middle. Now just up from my garden, you might have seen or noticed in my videos a bit of a structure up the top there. That's a chicken coop that I've been working on for over a year and a half. Currently I've got 2 flocks of chicken, one in this mobile coop and one in a little house in the backyard. What I'd like to do is combine the flocks and put them up in the front garden in this one bigger permanent coop. Now the mobile coop I hope to move out to my pasture area and move it along my swales. So just here is my new chicken coop. I've got the nest boxes on the outside, which will be handy. I do have to enclose this area, but I hope to make that so that you can just access all the eggs just through here nice and easily. It's built quite high because I've got a mesh floor, so the droppings during the night will just drop down to this under area. I hope to have a door that can lift out and I can throw all the vegetable garden waste under there, and the chickens can create sort of a bit of a compost system where the materials kind of roll down the hill and then out a little gate down the bottom. So I do have to build a bit of an enclosed section in this area. So I've got a bit of work to do still, but my son's helped with the cladding. The cladding is actually recycled from a 100-year-old house that's going to be demolished soon. So there's a bit of history in these boards. So I'm pretty pleased with how this coop's come up so far. I've got an automatic door opener, but I haven't got it going just as yet. And a little door. So in there you can see that the flooring is mesh. So it should be a lot easier to clean. Now I've got this as access to the chicken house, and that just lifts up and I can just hold that up and out the way. Nothing fancy around here, and that just holds on there. So this is the inside. It's got plenty of light with the roof up there, which is well shaded, so during summer it won't get hot. I still have to build some roosts for the girls. Now I've got a gutter system on the roof, so it's going to catch the water, and I'm going to get a down pipe to a large tub here, which is going to be hooked up to a chicken sort of water system so that they can get clean water but not dirty it. And any of the overflow I'm also going to have in a pipe that runs down underneath the house so that the moisture will feed onto the compost and keep lots of moisture in there. So what I'm hoping to achieve with this new house is compost being built by the chickens, some watering done without me having to carry it, but also I'm going to enclose an area so that they're nice and safe and I can get away for a few days quite easily. Hey Ray, how you doing? So what am I going to do with this backyard chicken coop? I have had 2 chicken spaces because I've got 2 roosters and I want to keep both. What I might do is move Ray here up with a couple of girls in the portable chicken coop along my swales to do a bit of work in those areas. And I might just build a separate little enclosed area so that if I do go away, I've got a safe spot to house another rooster so that they're not fighting. In this coop, I'm going to actually convert it to duck housing. So to achieve adequate housing for the 13 ducks I've got at the moment, I'm going to put in an access door and ramp on the other side here so that they can come into this space at night and I can just feed them in here water them once, feed them once. I might actually even extend the enclosed run. So once again, they've got plenty of space if I do go away that I can leave them. So why do I want a different duck house? Well, at the moment, I've got 4 separate duck houses, which is really inefficient. I have to manage each of the houses' water. I feed ducks separately in each house to get them in at night. So by having them all in one space, I'll be able to just do one watering and one feeding. I should also in that space be able to zone off areas if any of the ducks are sitting on eggs or have ducklings. I've also got that little brooder area next to it where I can house either chickens or ducks, so that would make it really easy. Hey ladies. We're going to have little ducklings soon. These ladies are sharing a nest. It should also make clearing out old duck bedding and putting in new bedding a lot easier as well. Another of my plans is to improve the watering around the property. Down here at the dam, I hope to have a pump run by my solar power that will pump water from this dam that has lots of duck nutrients in it up to some IBC totes that I'm going to get to put up near my vegetable garden. So I can water the garden by gravity feed and only pump on the days when I've got really clear skies and lots of energy being generated. I was thinking of positioning the IBC totes somewhere up the top here so that we can gravity feed water down to the garden. Also, I'm going to be running the pipe up along the fence line next to the house, then up through here and to here, and this would make it more convenient than anywhere else in this top garden to position it. Slowly this dam is getting a bit of habitat in there. There is a whole ring of reeds in the water that goes right the way around, but I do hope to build a floating island and float some willows or any other plant that's suitable to help filter this water and keep it clean. The problem with getting some vegetation started around this dam is the fact that it's got a leak. So it will be full in winter and then might go down sort of 2 meters during a dry summer. So I've got to find a plant that might be able to tolerate that variation, but I haven't done so yet. So I think the floating island might be a bit of an answer. A project that was started towards the end of last year is this retaining wall and trellis off my garage. Now I've got my 2 kiwi fruit planted already and they're just going through re-establishing. They were looking really good, but they're not looking so good now. So I hope given some time they'll recover. But basically we're going to put some trellising up there with some Rio on top to give the kiwi fruit lots of support. Now also as part of this renovation is to get some drainage. It's at the bottom of my driveway and collects a lot of water coming down. I do have a mini swale going off my driveway into the kitchen garden, but there's still a lot that collects down here. So I've got to improve the drainage situation. I've got some drainage channels that are going to go across the path to take most of it, and then the plan is to put it right across the front of my garage and out towards the paddock. And for the rest of the path I'll be doing a bit of a spoon drain and feeding the water out that way. Another thing that I've put on my list is to improve the water supply from this top tank to my animals. Currently in this top paddock I've got one stock trough which is there, but using the rotational grazing system, I've got small paddocks, so I do have to ship water around. Currently, I can't turn the tap on here and feed the water to the animals if they're along in this top paddock section. It's okay if I want to feed down the hill because gravity pulls it, but along here, there's not sufficient gravity to pull it. So what I would like to do is get a pump set up. I do have one. Get a pump set up here so that I can pump the water to where I need it. Now just here is a pile of old bricks out of an old fireplace in that 100-year-old house that I was speaking about earlier. I've recovered these to make a rocket stove. Now it's going to be a double burner rocket stove. A couple of years ago there were some really big storms and the power was out for a day and then for 4 days, and I couldn't really do my cooking other than on the barbecue. I thought with a double burner rocket stove, which just uses small sticks for fuel, that would help solve any of my cooking problems and make me a bit more resilient in the future. So I'm hoping to clean up this area here, maybe take out some of these old pavers, put a concrete pad down, and then build my rocket stove here. I may or may not cover it, I'm not sure at this point. I'm just going to get the stove built, hopefully, and see how we go from there. Morning, that was someone's head. Now there's a few projects that I've got to do up on my swales, but they were on last year's list as well and never reached the top of the priority list. So I don't know whether I'll get them done this year, but I'll add them on and who knows, maybe I'll get to them. The first of them is up on my top swale. I've got my almond trees here, and each summer they show signs of not having enough moisture, and I think that's because this swale isn't quite on contour. Down that end is where the water collects, and up at this section it always seems to be missing out, so I don't think it's quite flat enough. So really I've got to take out quite a bit here and just make sure that the water levels out across this swale. Down here is my bottom swale, and I've got a bit of an issue with that too. Down this end the water collects, and as you can see the vegetation is really quite lush, but down the other end it dries out quite a bit, and I think that's because my swale had a blowout right at the start. I really need to put in a level sill spillway. These two trees actually showed signs of drying out in a period where we had a little bit less rain, which they shouldn't have, because we'd gone through a period before that of a heap of rain, but they seem to have dried out. This section above them hasn't got the influence of that top swale, so there's not much moisture that's sort of soaking into the ground right here. You can see I've still got to add some organic matter to the back of the swale there. It might well be that I need to also dig out a little bit through here so the water collects here for a bit longer, but more importantly, it's hard to see in here, but there is a little channel. It's a little blowout in this swale. So I need to fill that in, build that up a bit, and put in a sill spillway so that the water, if it reaches the height, will just passively go over it rather than rushing through a channel. At the moment, the water, when it reaches this end, actually flows out a little bit too quickly. It's not held in the swale as long as it should really be and what it was designed to be. So I really need to go and fix this problem with the level sill spillway. It's a bit hard to make out with all the vegetation, but there's actually quite a channel right through there. I did start to put in a whole heap of sticks to try and fill it up, but I really need to somehow get some rocks and stones and a bit more soil to pack that up. Now my animals have been through here and eaten down the grass on this bit, but this is actually a little bit of soil that still comes out of that little channel in large rain events. Now we're here on my roadside swale, which also has an issue that needs to be addressed, and I've been putting off, so we'll whack it back on the list and see if we get it done this year. When the swale was dug, we actually dug through and broke the pipe that comes from the tank, which is the overflow, which goes through here and comes out in a little gully just there. This is where the pipe originally fed through to, and you can see the water is coming through so much that it's formed this big hole, and it actually creates a spring which comes out down my gully a bit, which I actually utilised for some mini swales to help grow my olive trees. Now this hole is getting bigger and bigger, and it's heaps bigger than the last time I looked at it. So this project might actually hit the top of, or near the top of the list for 2023. I think it needs to be done. What I'm going to do is actually on the bit of pipe that feeds through from the swale down to here, I'm going to put a swivel pipe on so that I can direct water either into the swale or out through the gully if there's heaps of water coming through. It's a bit hard to find at the moment. I think I need my sickle out here with me, but there is a broken pipe here that goes right through the swale berm and onto the other side where it pops out into the gully. So what I'll need to do here is first of all find where this broken pipe is and get an elbow on it and then a length of pipe so that the water in this swale does actually hold and feeds more into the dam. But if it's a really large rain event, I can just swivel that pipe down and then water can redirect down into the gully and down to the creek. The final thing I'd like to achieve this year is to build a farm gate stall. Just here, just a small one to sell my honey and maybe any excess produce I have. It's a no-through road here, so there's not a lot of passing traffic, but I can put a little sign down on the road to see if there's any interest in buying some honey. So that's something I would like to do. I'd like to use some of the weatherboards from that old house that will just be going to waste if I don't grab them, and I think that would make a really lovely addition to my gate area and match my new chicken coop as well. So that's my list of things I'd love to get done in 2023. I do also have to do animal management, growing my own food, managing my swales, chopping firewood, and get some of that list done. So I'll be checking this video again this time next year to see what I've achieved. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Thanks so much for watching, and bye for now.